This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with the president of the Cauliflower Alley Club, B. Brian Blair, the Killer Bee himself, and we are at the George Stragos Luthez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. But before we get into that, he is the president of the Cauliflower Alley Club. Brickhouse Brown received a very important award there this year. You can watch him receiving the award on the Hannibal TV if you look up Cauliflower Alley Club 2018 Bachwinkle Blowout, which was the first night of it. It was a great ceremony, very moving speech. Do you want to give us an update on his health and the controversy that happened this week?
Sure, Hannibal. I got a call about 6 days ago, and Reggie B. Fine is probably Brick's closest friend. And let me fast forward so you really understand. Let me paint the picture for you. Brickhouse Brown went to a doctor and found out he had stage 2 cancer, prostate. Well, when he found out he had stage 2 prostate cancer, his wife left him, drained their bank account, took everything. He had no money, and he went to the doctors with the last monies that he had. He had no insurance, couldn't even afford the Obamacare. So he was just getting pain pills until Rocky Johnson and another gentleman whose name is skipping my mind right now said, why don't you call the Cauliflower Alley Club, and they could probably help you. And so Rocky called me back. I called Brickhouse. We sent him to a doctor. He had stage 4 cancer. So we immediately put him on, paid for all of his medicines, cancer medicines, chemo, radiation, his room and board, food, everything. And he was doing really good. He came to the Cauliflower Alley Club, gave just a tremendous speech. I highly urge you to go to Hannibal TV, and you can see all the action at the CAC. It's always a blast, but one of the highlights was Brickhouse's speech. I mean, it's very moving. And so I've become very close with Brickhouse. When you work with somebody like that day in and day out, helping them with their bills, because we send checks to the hospitals or to the doctors or to the drugstore, wherever the case may be, landlord. He was responding well, came to the CAC, he had the best time of his life, he said, and it sure looked like it. Then the other day, I get a phone call from Reggie B. Fine, who is Brickhouse's closest friend. And he's in tears, and I knew right away when I heard Reggie say Brian, and I heard I knew it was about Brickhouse, and he said, Brickhouse is dead. And I said, oh gosh, wow, it was kind of a shock, but then, we knew it could happen, but at the same time, it didn't feel good, and I was very upset the whole day. About an hour later, his mom called me. His mother's name's Victoria Timmons. That's his biological mother. And she said, Mr. Brian, did Reggie call you? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she just said, I want to thank you, the Cauliflower Alley Club and everything. And she just started crying so bad. And I knew what she wanted to say. I said, Miss Victoria, let's talk later. And she said, okay. Well, that night, she called me up and she goes, Brickhouse is alive. And I said, what? She said, yes, I'm so excited to tell you. And she was crying again. She said, and I started crying. I can't believe it. And she said, Mr. Brian, this is a miracle. She said, I promise you. She said, the hospice lady, I was in the room and we were looking at Brickhouse, and his eyes rolled back in his head and his mouth opened, his tongue came out, and he had no pulse and no heartbeat. And the hospice lady said, I'm sorry, your son has expired. And she was crying terribly, and she said to me that preacher came in and they were praying for his soul and, doing the prayer and trying to comfort Miss Victoria, and the hospice lady's kind of growing a little close to him too. And so everybody's upset, and now they have to wait another 5-6 hours for the coroner to get there. For the coroner to give them the time of death, certified death. And Mrs. Timmons, Victoria Timmons, Brickhouse mom again, was with him for several days, and she said she hardly slept for the last 2 days. And so she fell into a hard sleep, and she said, I hear this voice calling to me, Mama, I'm hungry. Mama, I'm hungry. And she said, I thought I was dreaming, and then I heard, where are you at, Mama? And she looked and she said, Frederick! And she was so excited she couldn't believe it. He had pulled the sheet from over his head and said, I'm hungry. And so everybody came in. It was a jubilee. It was like nobody could believe it. I mean, he actually came back to life. And even Brickhouse's daughter, his biological daughter, her Coco Beware, and Joyce, his wife before she passed 9 years ago, her name is Raven. She had called me as well, and Coco called. Well, they both called together and said the Brickhouse was dead that day. So then when Miss Timmons called that night to tell me that, it was just like a miracle. And so I talk to her every day, and he wakes up around 5:30 according to Miss Victoria, and first thing he says, I'm hungry and I want a bath. I'm hungry and I want a bath. So, and he's been smiling, and he's actually talked on the phone a few times lately. I don't know what's going to happen. It's in God's hands, just like everything is, and we'll wait and see. But at least he's starting to eat. He couldn't eat solid food for his stomach shrunk up. He kept losing the food, and so they could just give him ice and Jello and liquid things, but they weren't giving him anything of. I said, are you giving him Ensure or something with protein, because you got to have protein? And she said, no, I'm just listening to the hospice lady. I said, well, I just want to say this, Miss Victoria, they're there basically to wait for somebody to expire. They're not there to make somebody live longer. They're just there to make them feel at peace and in comfort. And please find out from the doctor if it's okay. And so now they're giving him Ensure, and he's holding that down. And so, only God knows what's going to happen, but I'll see him next week. I was going to see him yesterday, but the way things worked out, I couldn't. But I will see him next week, and I'll be sure to give you a call or a text or email and let you know how he's doing. And for all your viewers out there, say your prayers for Brick. We don't know. It's as they say in baseball, the game's not over till the heavy lady sings, and and it's the same thing in life. You never know when your time's going to be called, but when it is, it's your time to go. But one thing's for sure is, Brick's got to die twice now to die.
That's an amazing story. It's a true miracle. And you're a former recipient of the Luthez Award here at the George Tragos Luthez Hall of Fame. You want to tell us a bit about what that award was all about and why you're here this year, other than to wrestle tomorrow night?
Well, I'm here to sign some autographs and do some things with the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and also to wrestle and to participate in the events. But it was an honor, a big honor, to win the Luthez Award. Lou was a great friend of mine, and Lou had a big heart, and he was always doing things besides being an amateur wrestler, a great amateur wrestler, a hooker, and a professional wrestler. He was also gave back to his community. So in order to win the award, you have to have a little bit of all of those. You're supposed to have a little bit of all those spices, ingredients. And I love giving back to the community. Obviously, I served as county commissioner in Hillsborough County and sat on the Citizens Advisory Board. Did that for 6 years. Hillsborough County is larger than 10 other states in population, so running countywide is like running for governor of 10 other states, which are Hillsborough County is also 1,078.2 square miles. Rhode Island's about 1,200, so you're campaigning in the state of Rhode Island. So it's a lot to do, and I have an audited statement that states that my agenda items that I put forward saved the Hillsborough County taxpayers over $1 billion during my time in office. We had between a $5 and $6 billion a year budget. So to trim $1 billion off that budget without affecting services is a pretty big deal. And so I'm proud of that. And I'm an official speaker for SERVE, which is the acronym stands for Student Entertainment something. You can Google it. SERVE in Hillsborough County, and so I'm an official speaker for SERVE, and I've spoken at least half, if not more, of the schools in Hillsborough County, and there's a lot of schools. I enjoy speaking to kids. It's one of my favorite things.
And of course, your position at the Cauliflower Alley is volunteer. You do this for the benefit of the wrestlers, giving them medical attention and so forth, financial help when they need it. Do you want to fill people in about next year's awards? Of course, anyone that wants to see this year's awards, search Cauliflower Alley Awards 2018. We covered the whole thing on Hannibal TV, but what can we expect for next year, and what are the dates?
Well, first, we hope you're going to be there again to film. We appreciate that. The next dates the official dates are the 29th of April through the 1st of May. Most people come a couple days early because we have matches before, and there's all kinds of things. There's going to be some new things this year. We'll have some tremendous honorees. There's people actually calling now wanting to be honorees, big names. So the word's getting out, and it's because of people like Hannibal TV that help spread the word. Because if you think about it, if Brickhouse would have known about the Cauliflower Alley Club 4 months earlier, he wouldn't be in the position that he's in now. He wouldn't be in hospice. And so, you know, as long as whether you've refereed, if you're a cameraman, or whatever you did, if you made a living in the professional wrestling industry for 3 years or more, you're eligible for financial aid. And we ask that you go to caulifloweralleyclub.org. It's all one word, cauliflower, and then like a cauliflower ear, Cauliflower Alley Club.org, and for $25 you can become a member for a year, for $50 for 2 years, so on and so on. And if you want to join for a life member, it's $300, and you actually get I think Carl Lauer is still giving. He still has like 100, well, not 100, about 25 25th anniversary Lou Thez autographed programs from the reunions. So that comes with your life membership, besides a bunch of other stuff that Carl Lauer, who's been an anchor of the club for 27 years, sends to our life members. And just joining membership, you get a beautiful certificate suitable for hanging, and you get to hang around with great guys like Deb and me and all the guys that come. We only allow nice people, so you got to be a nice person or you can't join the Cauliflower Alley Club, sorry. And we have a blast in Vegas. There's just so much to do. You can't run out of things to do in Vegas.
And to close this off, you want to just let people know where they can follow you to get your updates through social media?
Sure. They can either go to Twitter at KillerB1B. That's Killer B, then number 1, then capital B, or they can go to my Facebook accounts. There's 4 of them. There's a Killer B's, there's Brian Blair, there's Brian Blair. And I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me there. So, just look for my information at the caulifloweralleyclub.org. I'm not easy to find.
Well, thanks a lot for speaking to us, and we're actually going to be
easy to find. It's easy.
We're going to be recording your match tomorrow, so the fans who have been watching you on here just in interviews are going to get to see you in action.
Great. Should I take my clothes off right now so they can see what it still looks like?